last but not least, I have our two speakers for today. So first of all, I'm bringing to you Nicolas Petitjean. Nicolas is Global VP of Service and Experience Design at Sodexo, headquarters in France. So he oversees, and I hope I'm explaining it right, but he oversees everything related to service experience design around the world for Sodexo. And that's no small task because we're talking of a company with hundreds of thousands of people and currently under disruption due to COVID more than ever. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about how we can move from human-centered design to humanity-centered design. I just love that title. I'm not going to go into more detail. Oops, sorry. Just bumped into the key here. And moreover, following on with this solidarity and human theme, we have Koji Pereira. Koji, a well-known speaker in the UX circuit, ex-Googler, worked for many years in Google, launched products from 0 to millions and billions of active users a day. And now Koji is product design manager at Lyft in San Francisco, the ride-sharing company. And Koji has a really nice holistic view and very, very relevant view of design when it comes to so not only solidarity, but also what we call equality, right? So equality, human rights, etc. So I've seen some really interesting talks at previous events. So looking forward to listening to both of you guys today. Coming soon, we're gonna have an event on design banking. This date here is just an example. So we will have our own event solely dedicated to those interested in the financial and banking sector with a focus in design. We already done UX banking in Brazil, and it was a sold-out event. It was absolutely packed at Gym Pass Brazil, and now we're gonna make it global, and we're gonna make it bigger and better as usual, right? So this is coming soon as well. This is gonna be focused on the banking community, so I'm pretty excited about that. And that's it. So we have until 12:15. So we have just about an hour from now, right? And we got two amazing speakers for you guys. We're gonna start with Nicolas. And that's it. Let's make it happen. Nicolas, can we hear you?
Activate my mic. Good. So very impressed and very proud to be with you guys today. I will do my best, I hope. Just to share a couple of things from what has been somehow my journey within Sodexo since the last 3 years. So a little bit of background. I've been, and please do not hesitate to interrupt me. I've just joined a company 3 years ago. I was working previously on the product industry, doing mainly products, art products. I mean, like shoes, watches, whatever, ski boots or whatever. And then after some underwear, and then I joined the company 3 years ago to actually jump into the service industry, which is amazing somehow because it's very, very different from doing a product. A service, you consume the service in the instant instead of the product. You're designing the product, and then after you're manufacturing, and then after you're selling. So the linearity is not the same. The way you consume a service is not the same, but you know this better than me. So learning curve for me to understand a bit how the company works actually. So to your introduction, yes, we've been we're a listed company in French stock market. Biggest player on the service industry, food, FM services. Actually, we might be operating in several companies where you guys are working, or maybe you have connections with us somehow and you don't even know. I will show you this later on. I put some boring slides, so please, if you're okay with slides, I will put those slides on the screen later. But this is what I'm doing now since 2 years. I've been appointed head of design to establish the design function within the company. Quite quite intriguing is that the company doesn't have a service department since a while. There are bits and pieces working on more graphic design, some work around UX, UI, but all that thing is dispersed around the world. There's no consistency, I would say, around that. So my duty is to try to create this consistency and improve our users' experiences. I say users because we might have different type of users. What are our employees as key users to deliver a service, or consumers and users like kids at school, or even clients that we might consider as potential users. So this is a quick introduction. You okay if I share my screen? Let's go.
Yeah.
I will do it fastly. I just regroup a couple of slides. It's not perfect. Where is, here you go. Partager l'écran. And actually, you have to authorize myself, Bernardo. I'm not allowed to share my screen. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's go. Let's stop. This is it. So, is it okay now? Are you seeing it?
No,
I'm not seeing it.
Not,
No.
not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. All right, that's it. Should be okay now. Sorry, that's it. And here we go. Putting this on, should be now, should be okay. Yes, should be okay now. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so our life is a roller coaster, and you're improving this nowadays. Sadly, with the pandemic, we're saying that we can go ups and downs in a matter of days, weeks, or months, and all things fall apart, and we have to rethink the things, I would say. I put a couple of slides, and I put them probably mainly the one that keeps me awake at night nowadays. The two first ones, or the three first ones. The first one is really related to where we're moving in terms of direction from a design perspective within the company. Usually we've been doing a lot of experience in service design, so blueprinting, mapping out experience, looking around the pain points, the touch points, and creating those interactions with consumers or users or whatever. I'm more and more asked to work on the organizational footprint of ourselves or clients, companies, to see, okay, can we work around the change using design techniques or design approach or design capabilities to embrace differently the way we have to change our organizational. So it's interesting because probably because it's a more systemic approach. It makes a lot of sense. It's not one versus another, not analytical versus systemic. It's both sides. And I really believe that design can bring this systemic approach around the impact it can create. So we're right now investing on the service design squad, which is really doing the service design, whatever it's digital or physical, accompanying the company around upscaling. I mean, hundreds of towns of, can you ask us to drive a workshop with a client to co-design a solution, to co-design our future relationship or whatever. And so this is more and more the case, and we're not anymore designing a product or interaction. It's really actually working together somehow. And if we go down the line, this might be the next step, which is the biggest complexity with the social transformation. We're living this social transformation right now. People are not anymore going as they should go at offices. And for us, is a clear problem where we have company restaurants in our clients' facilities, but today people are not going anymore there. So how do we actually embrace in a more larger way what means providing a service in a world that is changing? How those services are connected to other things is really systemic approach about things. And it's not only about products or services or clients, it's really more the impact that you have on the society. So this is why I'm telling about humanity driven, and you will see why, because why at Sodexo? Very humbly today, right now, from a service design maturity level, we're more or less between the proof and the scale. As I say, we are still at the Stone Age. We don't have a lot of designers in the company. I can count them on my fingers. We might have a lot of external resources, but we don't have this critical mass to actually have a huge impact. The good thing is that we're well positioned. We're really reporting to the COMEX members. So it's really driving a lot of impact, and hopefully will change a lot the way we're approaching that. And by the way, our innovation director is also design-minded guy who might have another way to see innovation for the company. Credits to Koo's service design with this slide, as I say, and just the small information on this slide, despite all the things that are there, is that I was supposed to move from the centralized team and some bits and pieces around our regions, because we're operating on
Nicolas,
5-6 main regions.
Nicolas, sorry to interrupt. I think you're still on the first slide. Can you put it on full screen? We're still seeing the first slide, and it's not on full screen.
Oh yeah, sorry, yes. Maybe it will be better like this.
Yep, you got 30 minutes.
Okay, I will speed up. Okay, thanks. So this was the slide I was mentioning, and what we discovered is that we're actually moving from a centralized team and some teams to a more distributed, and this is what we're seeing with the remote working approach around design. So how do we connect the different entities and peoples to actually design a service with a client in Hong Kong, another one in Brazil, and so on and so forth. So fragmented approach of it. Why I mention humanity? Because actually Sodexo footprint is more or less all around our life. We're operating in maternities, in schools, in universities, hospitals, workplaces, maternities, and again, home care, community of care, and somehow all around the life cycle. As you can see, we might have a contact point with you or your family or your kids or your grandfathers or whatever. So this and is not siloed. I mean, your life is not siloed. There is connections. There are connections between the different pieces of your life. So we must ensure that when we are creating a service, it is consistent with other pieces of your life. So this is why we're trying to have a robust approach of the service design approach, with connecting different segments in our business, so different moments of the life, to ensure that we have this approach. So we're building continuums. It's very theoretical, but we're really building continuums. We're reading around learning. When we start working with universities, we're not anymore and companies. We're not anymore considering the semesters at university experience. I mean, you're going for a semester and you're spending time, and even the 3 years program. No, we're considering how learning impacts your life, and what might be a service that can accompany yourself through that length. We're also having a continuum of care in a daily unit, for example, ensuring that we're on a daily journey for people, that we are touching, we're addressing all the touch points for those consumers or clients or users, to ensure that they are not forget at specific points. And for sure, we're thinking in terms of ecosystems. I mean, we don't pretend to integrate everything, but from a work perspective, for example, we should consider work as an ecosystem of different things. And this changed a lot the way we're approaching the service, because we're not anymore on a linear approach, but more on a network approach of things. And we're creating service like this, like Rise by Sodexo, which is a more holistic approach of services. It's not anymore an offer, it's more a program to maintain your employees or people on good work habits and on healthy shoes. So that's it for this. If I go fast on the principles to ensure that I'm efficient, we have three main drivers. Ubiquity, meaning that we're considering all the different touch points on a journey. And this is very classic. Yep.
O cara falou para ele, você tem 30 minutos. Aí ele, tá bom, eu vou me apressar. Tipo, o cara tem meia hora para fazer uma apresentação.
Hi
Karen,
guys,
você tá com
your microphone in mute. Done.
And then the second one, the second approach, the second topic would be more congruence. I mean, be more sticky with our client environment. I mean, the Eiffel Tower, stadiums and convention center in the US, like for the Super Bowl, or even units, medical units like those ones in China in the very beginning of the crisis. We're part of our client's life. So we have to ensure that our experience is really sticky with what they're doing. So really, we're really creating this stickiness with our clients' experience, touch points, and what they're feeling. So this is why, for example, we have to transform the way we're approaching service nowadays when we're addressing work or learn or whatever. Systemic, I already mentioned this. Inclusive, we're working with users. I mean, we've been working with users and on a client that is helping old people to sustain their autonomy and to live longer in an autonomous way. And we're doing this with clients. So we're helping people to be more self-driven, because we know that dependency creates a lot of impact on our lives. So we're doing this not only with clients, but also with end users, which creates a lot of value for us and is eye-opening for our clients also. Anticipating, I mean, design fiction, you might already know that. So during some projections about automation, for sure there will be an impact, but it's not automation versus people, it's how automation and people works together. And for sure there will be impacts, but there's also creating value around jobs, maybe upskilling people, or maybe creating and transforming some jobs. So we have to consider the value that is creating. And this is why we're doing design fictions. Few months ago, we've been working also with Google, by the way, Koji, on creating those connections between ourselves, some design studios or designers around the globe to create new experiences. We're not pretend to doing alone. We want to create with another one, so network approach. And this is really critical. Right now, we're building a kind of design lab in India to ensure that we have this kind of eye on the Indian culture, and we'll be doing this on different countries. The entry point is really the network of the country around design and design maturity on service design, whatever the touch point, I mean, physical or digital. Few beliefs, that's my last slides, guys. Beauty of imperfection, I really love imperfection. I fall in love with imperfection. I mean, we're humans. We act like humans. You can see some bad or good things related to that nowadays, but I mean, it's what defines us somehow. So we need to have this in our approach, and we're not too much lean on the service. It's great to resolve pain points, but somehow it's also great to create some frictions to create the experience. You don't grow people in community only with data. I'm working quite closely with the data team and the marketing sites. It's important, but it's not the only thing. We need to cope with emotion. We need to create with health and well-being, all those dimensions that are more, that belongs to humanity somehow. So we're also embodying this and ensuring that we have this care approach of services. And system, you mentioned design systems. Well, for sure, digitally, it's a very powerful tool or approach. On a service also, it's really important. So we have to understand and create from sophisticated things to very simple systems like this picture for our users, because our users can be simple people going for a daily lunch, or can be cleaning people, cleaning a desk. So we have to create simple things for people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it for me. And why not tomorrow experience design for non-humans? I mean, AI and robots. We already have those requests from clients. It's not, and we have to create the experience for those things, with all these things, that works with people. So this is also something that is interesting and intriguing for me to crack. That was a quick introduction. I'm sorry if I've been speeding up to reserve time to discuss and ask for questions or whatever. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Nico. Muy bien. Wonderful.
Yes. Obrigado.
So I'm going to fire off the first question.
Yep.
So that you guys have time to think and follow on with more questions if you like. So we saw that in Brazil, Sodexo did a huge pivot and is now offering food delivery, right? So they're competing with iFood and competing with, and other companies like Gympass also had to do a huge pivot and start offering wellness via an app. So in terms of with your vision of global, obviously we have creative people in Brazil that came up with this new idea very quickly and managed to launch it. And not just idea, but to be able to execute it
Business.
and make it happen, right? Because ideas, we all have ideas, but I want to see it become true. And that was Ruben Sanchez. I'm not sure if he's in here on the call, but shout out to him. Congratulations for the fast response in business and creative solution. You know, pivoting a huge business is not easy, right? So Nico, I would love to hear from you. You know, how do you see that, and how do you see the rest of the world in Sodexo? Are the rest of the world going to follow along with the idea, or are they going to create new ideas? How are they going to respond to COVID?
Well, we have a twofold point here. We already packed a program that whose name is Rise with Sodexo. It's globally launched. It's very pragmatic. Has been done in a matter of weeks, and has been launched in all the regions right now. This is for the quick reactions, rapid redesign, I would say. But more on this topic about market, where I call this red markets, where you have an intense competition, intensive innovation, willingness to actually create, which is, it's fabulous. You have to stick to that. And been working with Rubenson, I believe that we will be accelerating a couple of things here.
Cool.
I would say that the current thing, what the good thing with the current crisis is creative disruption. Sadly, it's creating some issues, but a good thing is it's creating new things. And being an innovation director, a corporate director on my previous lives, I truly believe this is super important to keep this agility. I believe this crisis actually gave us a kind of leapfrog, 5 years leapfrog as a company, a kind of kick in the bottom to accelerate digitalization, to accelerate some things. Then after, there's also, to temper this, the digitalization brings also some new issues, like from a revenue model. It's a good thing to have an idea that creates value from a consumer perspective. The other thing is how do you create value? How do you create value for the company, for the clients, for the consumers, for the users, and the humanity somehow? So we have to see how do we are not only creating a business, but we're also creating more sustainable value. And this is not, it can be done. It is not this versus that, but this is a key thing. I mean, you can create a very nice click and collect service or delivery, but the delivery service cost for logistics is huge. And this is why, for example, Uber or other companies are going for for the B2B business, because you all of a sudden connect with a lot of consumers. So cost of acquisition is lower. So,
sure thing, sure thing. Excellent, excellent. Questions. Now we've got about 5-10 minutes, quick 5 minutes for questions, guys. Então, quick questions and quick answers. Let's go.
Go.
Who's got some?
Or not.
Or not.
Hi, Nicolas. Congrats.
Hi.
First of all, congrats for the presentation. I loved it. And I missed the first slide about your organization, how the designers work with the dev teams, and how you can be more fast and maintain the consistency and building products that can impact of the customers.
So this is, I will have two answers. The quick one, done better than perfect. So we are just doing it. So we're putting some assumptions, and we're putting the team that is, we call this design squads, not very innovative, but we're building design squad, a team of 4 or a team of 5 that are able to absorb the workflow that we have, which is service design, co-designing with clients, and digital design. And we're creating this consistency in small units. And you can find this on the new techniques of work. Somehow small units, very agile, very mobile, and maybe tomorrow distributed. I mean, not necessarily based in one country near the headquarters, but more distributed. So you need to have a good network to do that. Did I answer? Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
More questions, more questions.
I have one. Hi, Nicolas. Thank you for your presentation. It's a really short question. What's your thought on new competitors that are using new payment arrangements for, especially in Brazil? We have some new products like that. So how is Sodexo and how your team is seeing that? Do you see an opportunity for Sodexo as well?
Yeah, I think as always, we're looking for those areas, and this is, for example, Rubenson is always on the ground and sticking an eye on this. Yes, for sure. I will not answer on behalf of Rubenson on this, but we always keep an eye on this payment area in every country. I mean, the transactional part is critical. So yeah, sure. And we're just, and it's interesting because from experience perspective, for example, we've been working on some topics like creating those small frictions that are really key when you're creating those payment flows. That we're creating those small frictions that creates alarm or connections or confidence or trust that is necessary for those things, and make it simple on the flow from both sides, clients or consumers, or even third parties.
Amazing, guys. We're going to open for more questions at the end. I want to get on with Koji. So thank you so much, Nicolas, and many thanks for joining.